Good evening. This is the Infrastructure Committee meeting of Thursday, July 16th, 2020. It's now 6:30 p.m. And with that, we'll begin the meeting. Carol, if you will read the roll call, please.
Okay, please acknowledge that you're here. Bob?
Yes.
I'm here. Deborah?
I'm here.
Mark?
Here.
Eileen? Not yet. Ralph?
Here.
Paul? And Jeff?
I'm here.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Well, and let's open it to public comment. Has anyone heard anything, received any communications, or those of us from the public want to speak?
Nope.
I participated in the planning discussions. They're really good, and they're just starting out. And I had mentioned to Bob that infrastructure, and especially broadband, but other infrastructure was a big topic of discussion during the meetings. And Laura mentioned that a vendor had reached out to her.
Very good. A minor overheard comment. I was in the Durham market the other day, and somebody at the meat counter was speaking very loudly about how Durham has the worst roads in the area and how upset they were. I kept quiet and just listened, but I think that people are getting a little bit tired of the roads, but that it's going to take time. So smile and put a good face on it. So
Bob, the road situation was brought up, I think, at one of the selectmen meetings recently.
Mm-hmm.
That is supposed to be looked into, that they, the company who's doing the road work for the water line, that they do something about Main Street because of the issues, and that it's still going to be quite a while until it's finished. So I believe the first selectman is supposed to reach out to them and find out what's happening.
Very good. I was driving today along Main Street, and they were flushing hydrants. So, and also one of the workmen was sitting in the shade and I'm blanking out on the guy's name right now. He lives right at the beginning, north end of the historic district. He has the furniture refinishing business. Anyway.
Oh, Fuji.
Dave Fuji, thank you. He was sitting under a tree in Dave Fuji's yard, and of course we were stopped waiting for traffic. And he got up and had a glass and put it under where they were flushing the fire hydrants, and filled his glass and drank water. And so things are moving ahead. Okay, moving along, approval of the minutes of June 18th, 2020. Are there any questions or comments, concerns about the minutes as presented? Hearing none, could I have a motion to accept the minutes as submitted?
A motion to accept.
I'll second that.
Who seconded, Mark?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Very good, motion carries. Old business. This falls a little bit under the heading of old business because it is an established issue. There was a meeting sponsored by the Connecticut Conference of Municipalities by the Public Utilities Regulatory Authority for Connecticut, or PURA. And the purpose of the call was to discuss what's going on with Pura and their regulatory oversight. I will get a copy of the presentation. I've asked for one, but I've not received it yet. It's very interesting, and I will capture as much of what I captured in notes as I can. Pura is basically the regulatory authority for anything on electric poles. So obviously electricity, broadband to the extent it's carried on a pole, cable television, anything that, electricity obviously, is a Pura responsibility. There is also the Connecticut Siting Council, and that is anything that is on a transmission line or tower, such as a cell phone tower. There is thirdly a 5G council, which is in charge of broadband on state properties. And basically the presentation was dealing with what Pura is over and what is going to be happening as far as 5G, what can be appealed to Pura when it comes to siting of utilities under their control. And what specifically came up was 5G. And aesthetics can be appealed, but it has to be based upon regulations that existed before the issue arose. So you can't suddenly go back and say, oh, this is not aesthetically pleasing to the town unless guidelines and regulations had been set up in advance. Specifically, the question was raised regarding radiation. And Pura's position is that if it's approved by the FCC, that's the end of the appeal process. So if 5G small cell were to come into town, the options available to the town to potentially push back on it, or residents to the town to push back on it for aesthetic or for radiation reasons, would be essentially moot. So interesting presentation. I will try and get a copy of the slides for you. I already haven't gotten them yet, but obviously there's a lot going on with broadband and the regulatory attributes of it. So the Connecticut Conference of Municipalities is involved as well. Durham is part of that, so we can also tap into them, I'm sure, for any questions or concerns we have about the regulatory oversight of broadband. Questions, comments, thoughts? Very good. That's all I had under old business. And we didn't have any, I didn't have any feedback to the agenda, but happy to add other things that we've been talking about in the past for discussion here. Anything we should be covering as part of our old business?
I don't think so.
Very good, moving on. A couple of things have come up. Regarding the grant, remember I told you about a drinking water state revolving fund grant that was applied for. The Department of Public Health has reviewed the eligibility application that was submitted for the project, and based on their review of the materials, the proposed project is eligible for funding. So Durham has basically passed through the first hurdle of seeking additional funding for water outside of the EPA or DEEP zones. So I believe it was A through J alphabetic zones that are outside of the EPA and DEP. That process will involve a public hearing date to be noticed at least 30 days in advance, and it has not happened according to the information I have. And if we decide to withdraw, all we have to do is let them know. But as far as I have heard, we're continuing, the town of Durham is continuing to proceed on looking at water outside of the DEEP and EPA zones. So I think that's positive news. And Chuck, I see you here. That was the grant that required the special funding that the Board of Finance approved. So that's how that trues up to what money you approved. Okay, Carol, do you want to talk about your conversations with Frontier, and then I'll talk about what I've got with broadband?
Oh, okay. I don't have much to report because the name that I was given, I contacted, and he thanked me very much about contacting, but there was somebody else involved, and he forwarded my information on to him, and that was last week, and I haven't gotten any answer back yet. So I was asking for them to meet with us in September to explain, you know, what their plans are, and but I haven't heard anything back yet.
I reached out to Comcast in a similar way. I did a little research on some Comcast filings and was able to get the names of two particular individuals, reached out to them and noted they may not be the right people. Within 3 hours, I had a response from Comcast's regional director of regulatory and legislative affairs, and had a nice email conversation with her. They are scheduling a presentation for us at our October meeting. Who will be doing the presentation is yet to be determined, but I did share with them the list of questions that we had worked on in the last 2 meetings so that they would know the subject area. I also sent them the link to the charge that we have from the town of Durham on the town of Durham website, so they would know the context of what we're asking. So as far as I now know, the Comcast people will be here in October.
That's great.
Very good.
I don't know if Laura or someone mentioned it, but the governor end of last week announced that he's reinstating the steep grants. The grant process would be for infrastructure, including broadband, and he expanded it to include things related to expenses the town will need for the pandemic, which I think fits in that too, although you can also go for the water. And it's you have to apply, you have to have your applications in starting Monday, which was this Monday, until August, what is it, 14th or 15th? I can look it up here. But it's it hasn't been in effect since 2016. And it's $15 million to small towns only.
Very good. We like other people paying for things. Of course, we're paying through through it for it through our state taxes, but it's always nice to get our state money back as well. I would like to note that the town has asked people, various boards and commissions, to break out their COVID-related expenses so that we can seek reimbursement for that. So for example, the library has captured the money they're spending on cleaning and PPE and the lovely shower curtains up if you've been in the library recently. So the town is actively pursuing reimbursement for COVID-related expenses. Okay, at the last meeting, it was suggested that we may not want to meet in July. This meeting, or August, this meeting is obviously going to be a very short meeting. If we don't want to meet in August, which I think is probably the preference of the group, what we do need to do is have a motion to that effect that we will not be meeting in August. And then I will need to file that, assuming it's approved, with the town clerk to cancel the meeting in August. So what's your preference? Don't all speak at once. Zoom will handle it.
It doesn't matter to me, but I don't know if there's other people that are involved with, if they were going away or children going off to school or what, you know, so.
Well, my son's not going up to UConn because they took his housing away, so I will be around.
Oh, no.
Yeah. No housing at UConn.
Oh, that's rough.
It doesn't matter to me. I mean, if everybody wants the meeting, I'll be there or I'll attend it.
Well, I think a lot of things are percolating. We're working on broadband now. We can certainly start another one of our key areas. You know, we've been plugging away, I think, very successfully so far. So, you know, we can certainly meet, and I know the socialization of getting together on a regular basis probably helps. Although maybe people aren't as housebound as they once were.
Who knows what's going to happen in a month?
Yeah, exactly.
So do we want to keep it for Thursday, August 20th? That's the third Thursday.
Well,
Do you want to see if there's some that you have business? I think you can cancel it probably the week of if you want to see if you have business.
Yeah, that would be fine. That would be fine. Okay, then in that case, hearing no motion and hearing no sentiment, we'll keep the meeting as scheduled, but reserve the right if we don't have enough going on that we can postpone the meeting or cancel the meeting. How does that sound?
That's fine.
Good.
That's good.
Anything else then that we should be covering? Broadband is somewhat on a hold, and water and gas are well on their way. What's your thinking?
I added a link in the chat for if anybody wants to look at it. I just saw a new, it's an article related to the Starlink satellite internet service and the progression of that. And it discusses how it's going to be set up in terms of like the satellite dishes, and it talks about how over the next couple, if people who want to test it out, because they're going to be doing an open beta test, people who want to test it out can go to the website to some Starlink website and fill out information and possibly get selected to try it, and all of those sorts of things. So it's the article is just written, was just published yesterday, so it's all recent information about it if anyone's interested.
That's great. I'll definitely look at that.
So how do I can see it in the chat. Do we have to somehow get this to our other things? How do we get that forwarded?
If you just click on the link, it should open a tab in whatever, whatever you use.
Yeah, or you can copy and paste it and put it on your desktop.
Okay.
Excellent. Well, this sounds like it's going to be a fairly short meeting this evening. Paul, you've been quiet.
Yes, listening.
Okay. Very good then. Well, I don't have anything new. I don't want to keep us. Equally, I want to make sure everyone has had a chance to talk and share and raise any issues. So if there's anything, if not, we can close out the meeting. Very good then.
Right.
Okay, I need then a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I'll
Second.
second.
Who
Okay.
seconded?
Okay, discussion. Talking to Mark and saying thank you to him. No other discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Then everyone have a safe and good evening, and thank you all.
You as well. Thank you.
You too. Everybody stay safe.
Have a good night.
Bye now.
Bye.